teacher that teaches students and teachers. That's why there's so many people here today watching you to do writer's workshop. Have you been doing writing workshop?
Yes.
You have? Did you get to publish your first story?
Yes.
Wow, I'm so proud to hear that. Did you guys like doing that?
Yes.
It was fun, right, to get to pick your own stories and write about them. Well, today we're going to do some writing work, but since I'm a visitor here, I have to make sure we have some of the same rules. And if they're a little bit different, I need you to follow my rules for today, okay? My first rule is the way you're sitting. I want everyone to make sure that their legs are crisscrossed, their hands are in their laps. That way you're not distracting anybody, and you're not distracting yourself. So hands are in your lap. My second rule is that your eyes are on me, your ears are open, and your mouths are closed, so your whole body's listening. And my last rule is you only raise your hand if I ask you a question. So if I don't ask a question, should I see any hands in the air?
No.
Nope. Give me a thumbs up under your chin if you understand my rules. Good. Hands back in your lap. My last thing I need to check and make sure is I need to make sure that if I ask you to turn and talk to a partner, is that someone that you're sitting next to already?
Yes.
Can you point a quiet finger to that person and leave that finger there for 1 minute so I can come and check and see if everybody has somebody? So you guys could be a group of 3 back there. Okay? All right, hands back in your lap. Eyes on me. We're going to get started. You guys did that so quickly. Sometimes that takes so long to do in some classrooms, but you guys were like experts at it. So, you guys have been writing stories, right?
Yes.
So teachers, we're here right now. You guys have been writing stories, and you've been using like story paper to write your stories. So, we're going to talk about today that when writers write stories, they need a strategy. Can you all say that word, strategy?
Strategy.
A strategy is the way you do something. And there's many strategies on how you can do things. But we're going to talk about one way, one strategy that writers get started in writing stories. One way, okay? So we're going to talk about this a little bit. So we're here now, teachers. So I want to look at this story. You guys know this book?
Yes.
Do you remember what it's called?
The best
The
story.
Best Story. This is actually one of my favorite stories. It's not, I don't know if it's the best in the whole world, but it is one of the best stories. And in this story, the girl is writing all these different stories that she doesn't feel connected to, right? Like with the monkeys and the pirates and the great white shark. Do you remember all those parts? And she didn't really feel good. They didn't feel right to her. But towards the end, she started to say to herself, after her mom told her that the best story comes from your, what?
Heart.
Your heart, she said to herself out loud, that night after supper, I looked into my own heart and rewrote my story. No more monkey, no more pirate, no more wedding invitations, no more happily ever after. My new best story is about my family and my 2 best friends, Tara and Josh. It's about my cat, Ollie, who sleeps on his back, and snow days and toast with strawberry jam. It's about fireworks and rainbows and bike rides. So she came up with all these other ideas that were her story ideas. Not yours, not mine, not her sister, her brothers, not her father's. It was hers. They were from her own heart. So we're going to think about how we can do this. We need to come up with a strategy. So let me get started, and we're going to make a chart, because this chart's going to help you follow and remember what the strategy is. So we're talking about how writers write stories. So how writers write stories.
No, I'm in a meeting.
Okay, so the first thing that we do, writers do, when you guys are writers, is you think, think, think. Can you guys say that?
Think, think, think.
You think, think, think. Think, think, think. And when you think, 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 there's a couple of things I want you to think of. you can think of, and I'm going to write them all down so we don't forget about them. You can think of special people, like she did. She thought about her best friends and her family. So you can think about people. And maybe for people, I'll just draw like a little stick figure so we remember. You can think about places that you like to go to. And for like places, like maybe we can think of like the beach. This is one of the places. There's many places you might think of. And we can think of things. And things could be like something like a pet that you may have. I'm going to draw a cat. I'm better drawing cats than I am dogs. Or maybe a thing could be like a sport you like to play. Like maybe you like to play baseball. Okay? So you can think about people, places, and things. And when I say think, I kind of like think of a light bulb because that means like we're thinking, right? Doesn't a light bulb mean you have an idea usually?
Yeah.
Right? So let's draw a light bulb so we remember what this means. I need a black one here. I'm not the best artist, but I'm trying my best for you guys, okay? Don't judge my drawings here. It looks like a hat? Let's see. Let's get it to make it look more like a light bulb. Look a little bit better? You guys know what I'm getting at here though, right? So we don't need to be so harsh and judgmental in my pictures. Alright, so first we think about people, places, and things. Then you have to plan your writing by touching and telling. And I'm going to tell you what that means in a minute. But can everybody say touch and tell?
Touch and tell.
Oh, touch and tell. Let's see, it's a deep color. Deep blue. And when you touch and tell, there's one rule that I have for touching and telling, is you use your finger. So here I'm going to draw a hand and your paper that you'll be using. And I'm going to point to the finger and the paper because you're supposed to be touching and telling with your finger. Do you see a pencil anywhere?
No.
Do you see a crayon?
No.
Do you see a marker?
No.
All you see is a
Finger.
finger. Good, you guys are so smart. All right. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about for now is then you sketch and write. Can you guys say that?
Sketch and write.
Sketch and write. And when you sketch and write, then what do you think you can pick up? Your pencil. So I'm going to draw a pencil on the hand. And then you're using your pencil to sketch and write. Okay, are you ready to watch me do this?
Yeah.
Hopefully I can think of something, right? So let's see, I'm going to use this strategy that we just came up with. Say it with me first. Think. Touch and tell. Sketch and write. Okay, well, let's see. I need to think. So when I'm thinking, I'm thinking of people, places, and things. I could use my folder to help me to come up with some ideas. I have some pictures on my folder. So I have some special people like my family and my friends, and I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and I have a 1.5-year-old. I can think of some stories about them. Or I could think of some places like going pumpkin picking or the beach. I do love the beach. Or vacations. That's some places. Or some things that are important to me, like my pets. I have 2 cats. My garden's also really important to me. That's a thing. I also like to do kickboxing. That's another thing. Which one do I feel like I have the most to say about? And which one do I feel most connected to? I know, like, I really, love my daughter, Ellie and Cooper, but I can't think of a story right now about them. Like, and I don't want to just tell all about them. I want to come up with a story, like a one time we did something. But you know what is coming into my head is a story about my pets, about one of my cats. I have 2 cats, and one is very mischievous. So I just did my think. And I chose to think about a story about my pet, my cat. So now I'm ready to touch and tell. What am I going to use? My finger. So I'm not picking up my pen or my pencil. And I have story paper. Have you guys seen story paper like this before?
Yes.
Something similar?
Yes.
Not exactly the same probably though, right? Well, this is what we're going to use today. There's a box for a picture and there's line for words. And you have 1, 2, 3 pages. How many?
3.
3. So you could do your beginning, middle, and end. How many parts is that?
3.
Does it match? So I could do my beginning, my middle, and then my end. So I'm going to take my finger and touch and tell my beginning, my middle, my end. All right, so in the beginning of my story, my cat Tux was looking out the door, and I was coming home with my groceries. Taking my finger, touching and telling the middle now. In the middle, I opened the door to bring the groceries in, and Tux ran out. She got out of the house, and she's an indoor cat. She's not supposed to go outside ever. In the end of my story, I was trying to get Tux to come back inside the house, and she wouldn't come. So I had to bribe her with a piece of turkey to come, and then she came running to me. Okay, did you see how I used my finger and I talked about each part of my story? Did I use my pen yet? What am I ready to do now? Sketch and write. So I'm going to take my pen, you guys will use your pencils, and I'm going to sketch and write. And the sketch is not a detailed drawing. It's a quick drawing to just get your idea on the paper. I should not see any detail. So I'm going to do a quick, let me write my name at the top here first. My first name's Michelle, and I always write my first name and my last name. Michelle Stone. So let me do my quick sketch, and I'm going to show it to you in 1 second. And I need you to tell me if it looks like a good sketch, okay? Don't forget, I'm not a good artist, okay? Can you see Tuck sitting by the door?
Yes.
Can you see me getting home with groceries?
Yes.
Are there lots of details?
No.
No, because I'm just sketching. So that's my beginning. In the middle of my story, I was coming inside the house, and now I'm inside, and like I said, Tux ran outside. She's a very, very bad cat sometimes. Do you see my quick sketch? Can you tell what's happening?
Yes.
In the end of my story, I went outside to try to get her, and I had to give her a piece of turkey. And she came running back to me. Only for the turkey, though. Not because she really wanted to come back to me. Can you see me holding turkey now?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm ready to write words to match my picture. So I'm going to think about what's happening on my page, and I'm going to say, Tux is sitting at the door, looking outside. I just got home with groceries. So now I'm thinking about what's happening in my picture, and I'm adding my words. And then I would go to the next page, and I would think about my picture, and then what would I add?
Your writing.
My writing. And then I would go to the last page, the end. I would think about my picture, and then I would match my words. And I would add lots of sentences to match my words. So did you notice how I did my think, think, think? Everybody say with me.
Think, think, think.
What did I think about?
People, places, things.
Then after I did my think, 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 then I did my
Touch and tell.
and then I did my
Sketch and write.
okay, teachers were here. So now you're ready. You have a job to do. Are you ready for your job? Oh, I don't know if you look ready, your hands in your lap or your eyes on me. Because this is where you really, really have to listen to what your job is. You need to